Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name's Molly, and today I'm going to be watching, reviewing, and reacting to Season 1, Episode 5 of Hannibal. Alright, so before I actually get to Hannibal, a couple of things. First, if you've been watching videos on my channel for a while, you will quickly see that this is a very different setting, background from what you usually would be observing. I do apologize for the situation. I also know that if you've been keeping up with my videos, you're aware that I've been sick for quite a while. Luckily, my voice has come back, the laryngitis is gone, but I'm still not feeling in top shape, and I honestly just didn't really feel like getting out of bed. I didn't feel up to it at this point in time, but I felt bad about people having to keep waiting and waiting for these reactions until I was up to it. So I decided to do a little experimenting and try out and see if I could record a couple of reaction videos from my bed for the time being while I'm recuperating, so that we can keep progressing forward with the series and with the reactions, even if I'm not fully up for getting all set up and being at my desk and watching. So I do apologize for that. I know it's going to be a little bit different and it's kind of an odd setting. But hopefully it'll be okay. And it shouldn't be too many videos. I mean, if you've already seen my Sabrina video, you know this, or if you've seen my Expanse video, which is early access, so if you've been on my Patreon, you would know. But if not, you know, hopefully, I do apologize, hopefully this won't be too irritating in any sort of way. At least we're progressing forward with the series. And then the other thing I'd just like to say is thank you to everyone who has come out to support my channel. First of all, for everyone that's given me well wishes while I've been sick, I do appreciate that. And anybody who's just come out and liked any of my videos, who's subscribed to the channel, who's commented or left questions for me, anything that you can do along those lines really does help my channel, and a lot more than maybe you would realize, so I thank you for that. And a big thank you to everybody who's come out to support me on Patreon. Honestly, it's a huge help for everybody that's done so, whether it's somebody who's coming out to just give a small donation that allows me to, you know, keep building, or if you're one of the people that wants to contribute a larger donation and then get extended reactions or early access videos. Any little bit helps, and I really am appreciative of all of you guys. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you once again for that. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, there will be a link in the description below. But if not, again, not a big deal. As I said, I'm thankful for everybody for doing whatever you can, even if that's just watching and liking a video. So, alright, so Hannibal. Now, we're continuing on with our saga, and where we've left off, Hannibal's been playing quite a few games with Abigail, as well as Will, of course, and that Abigail seems almost like she may be a tool or a means to an end in his gameplay with Will. So we're going to continue to see how that builds going forward. He's kind of drawn Alana into the mix of this as well, which is interesting, an interesting dynamic. I guess maybe he wants some sort of, like, female motherly figure for Abigail to be in her life, and it does seem like he also just likes Alana, so we'll see how that continues to progress too. So with all that being said, I think I'm gonna just jump right into episode 5. I'm excited to see what happens next. Alright, here we go.
Do you know where you are, Mr. Graham?
Things are not going well for him.
Where
I
do you
mean,
live?
obviously, all of this, everything we've seen of him in the first few episodes, largely suggests that he shouldn't be doing this job for his own sanity.
Hi, Winston.
Oh, good boy.
Can I sit down? My feet are sore.
Protecting him.
Why don't we take
What
you
a
home?
good dog.
Okay.
Oh.
Are you on any drugs, medication, prescription, or otherwise? No.
Nope, just
You
his
drinking?
own fucked up brain.
No.
Poor
Yes.
Will.
Not excessively. I had 2 fingers of whiskey before I went to bed.
Do you have a history of sleepwalking, Mr. Graham?
Not even sure if I'm awake now.
Yikes. At least Winston is there.
Although I may be, it's safe to assume you're not sleepwalking now.
Sorry, it's so early.
Never apologize for coming to me. Office hours are for patients. My kitchen is always open to friends. Onset of sleepwalking in adulthood is less common than in
just feel
children.
like everything out of his mouth is a manipulation tactic.
I'd argue good old-fashioned post-traumatic stress. Jack Crawford has gotten your hands very dirty.
Some forced back into the field.
I wouldn't say forced.
Manipulated?
Manipulated would be the word I'd choose.
I can handle
He
it.
should recognize manipulation.
Somewhere between denying horrible events and calling them out lies the truth of psychological trauma.
So I can't handle it.
Your experience may have overwhelmed ordinary functions that give you a sense of control.
If my body is walking around without my permission, you'd say that's a loss of control.
Yes.
Wouldn't you?
That's one of the victims? Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, according to the register. They were mutilated and displayed. I thought it might be the Chesapeake Ripper, but there were no surgical trophies taken. I'm going to need you to prepare yourself on this one.
I'm prepared.
Prepare yourself some more. Eat soup in there.
Soup isn't good for the soul.
Not this time. All right, look, there are no
So this is
jurisdictional
gonna be
rivalries
bad,
here.
huh?
The local police begged us to take this. Where's your head?
It's on my
gonna be
pillow. Let him
bad.
sleep.
That's just the thing to wake you up.
Oh. Okay. I think this is the grossest thing I've seen so far on this show.
Hooks
Oh,
were poured
God.
onto the ceiling.
I don't want to look at it.
Fishing line was used to hold up the bodies and the wings.
At least we know he's a fisherman.
And or a Viking.
Vikings do this?
Oh,
Vikings
God.
used to execute Christians by breaking their ribs, bending them back, and draping the lungs over them to resemble wings. They used to call it a blood eagle.
And pagans mocking the God-fearing?
Mrs. Crawford? Please come in.
Oh, what is this that you're doing, Hannibal?
How often do you see him?
Twice. Jack hasn't abandoned me.
I mean,
Not in any discernible way,
No.
perhaps in the way gods abandon their creations. You say he hasn't abandoned you, but at the same time you find yourself wandering around Wolf Trap in the middle of the night.
Wow. This should be interesting. Please, Doctor, proceed.
Jack gave you his word he would protect your headspace. Yet he leaves you to your mental devices.
Trying to alienate me from Jack Crawford?
I'm trying to help you understand this angel maker you seek.
Help me understand how to catch him.
I
If you
mean,
were
the
clever,
best thing for
Paranoid
you would be
schizophrenic,
to stop trying to
might be
catch
able
these
to
people. I
influence
mean,
him
it's
to
pretty
Scare
clear.
him out into the daylight.
Might even get him to hurt himself, if he hasn't already.
If he were self-destructive, he wouldn't be so careful.
Unless he's careful about being self-destructive. Making angels pray over him when he sleeps. He prays over us when we sleep.
No, you didn't.
Sorry.
That's a great Silence of the Lambs nod right there. But, gross.
So God has given this person insight into the souls of man.
God didn't give an insight, God gave him a tumor. It's just a man whose brain is playing tricks on him.
Will, your subconscious is warning you.
Like this killer.
Hannibal.
Brain is playing tricks on him.
Yes.
You want to feel such sweet and easy peace. The angel maker wants that same peace. He hopes to feel his way cautiously inside it and find its endless...
Your subconscious brain is making the connections, Will.
He's gonna be disappointed.
You accept the impossibility of such a feeling, whereas the angel maker is still chasing it. If you got close to it, that's where he will look for it again. Instead, you find yourself in a behavior pattern you can't break. You realize you have a choice.
What is it?
Angel Maker will be destroyed by what's happening inside his head. You don't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just smell me?
Difficult to avoid. I really must introduce you to a finer aftershave that smells like something with a ship on the bottom.
I keep getting it for Christmas.
So does this mean that Will is physically
Your headache's
sick?
been worse lately. More frequent.
Yes, actually.
Ooh.
I changed the aftershave.
It's brutish.
Made himself into an angel.
I can't. It's the skin. Guys, it's the skin.
It wasn't God, it wasn't man. It was his choice to die.
His choice?
As much as he could make it. I don't know how much longer I can be all that useful to you, Jack.
Really? You caught 3. The last 3 we had, you caught.
Jack.
Caught 3 of them. No, I didn't catch this one. Elliot Bush surrendered.
You know, I'm used to my wife not talking to me. I don't have to get used to you not talking to me, too.
It's getting harder and harder to make myself look.
No one's asking you to look alone.
But I am looking well.
Jack.
And you know what looking at this does.
I know what happens if you don't look, and so do you.
I can make myself look, but the thinking is shutting down.
What is it about this one?
It isn't this one, it's all of them. It's the next one, it's the one that I know is coming after that.
You want to go back to your lecture hall? Read about this stuff on TattleCrime.com?
No, I don't. But that may be what I have to do. This
Yes.
is bad for me.
I'm not your father, Will. I'm not going to tell you what you ought to do.
Seems like that's exactly what you're gonna do.
You go back to your class, Will. And there's killing going on that you could have prevented. It will sour your classroom forever.
Maybe.
Oh, God.
Then maybe I found a job as a diesel mechanic in a boatyard.
It's just
You wanna quit?
Everyone is manipulating him.
Quit.
You know the right strings to pull. Because he's so just open, I guess. It's easy to figure out. Oh! Oh no! No, 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 no.
Sure. What do you see? Inside. I can bring it out of you. Not all the way out. I can give you the majesty of your becoming.
Well. Oh God. This is not good. Alright, well, that was episode 5. So I'll just start off by saying that I was a little surprised that there wasn't really more of a continuation of the Abigail situation in this episode. At least at first I was. But I also think that they did a good job of continuing the idea of Hannibal kind of playing with Will's psyche, manipulating him, without having to go towards Abigail in this instance, because they were able to show that in a different way through also showing about Will's relationship with Jack. And this episode was clearly also intended to give us more of some insight into Jack as a character, you know, his background, his relationship with his wife, his kind of inner conflicts in dealing with this relationship with his wife and her sickness, but also with Will and what he's putting him out there to do, his risking of him in return for what he sees as a necessary risk, I guess, because of the people that they're maybe able to save by stopping these serial killers. But I do think it was a kind of an interesting contrast to show that in some ways both Hannibal and Jack are manipulating Will for their own purposes, and Will can see it more clearly with Jack, though he maybe doesn't want to necessarily see it. It's there, and it's obvious that Jack is willing to do whatever he feels is necessary, say whatever he feels is necessary in order to get Will to do what he wants, which is to continue working on these cases. So he's even willing to say things to Will like, well, you know, how are you going to feel if you're going back to teaching and then there's these people that are still out there that are killing and you were able to stop them but you didn't? And obviously that has a major impact on Will. And Will can see this, and Hannibal is really kind of poking at that in their discussions to seemingly get Will to maybe be less trustful of Jack. I don't know, but at the same time, obviously Hannibal still wants him going out there, right? Because this kind of breakdown that Will seems to be having, I assume, is something that Hannibal is in favor of or enjoying. I don't know. Hannibal, he's just so curious. His goals are always interesting to try and figure out. But I am also now a little bit concerned that maybe Will is not just having a breakdown because of, you know, what he's experiencing from getting in the minds of these people. Because, and maybe it's nothing, but just the fact that Hannibal was sniffing him like that after, you know, Hannibal had the discussion about how he was able to smell cancer, and then you could see him seemingly actively doing that with Bella, with Jack's wife. He smells her cancer too, and then is kind of like bringing her into his office to have this discussion with her. So I'm wondering, you know, if they show that sniffing of Will scene, if they're just trying to make us think that Hannibal's trying to figure out if there's something physically wrong with him, or if, you know, there is actually something physically wrong with him that is causing these sorts of things, the sleepwalking and the nightmares and night sweats and the vision that he had at the end where he thought that the killer actually was still alive and was saying these things to him when in reality that wasn't happening, and that clearly shook him quite a lot. So, yeah, that's an interesting potential development, that maybe there's something more serious going on with Will than we realize, and wondering what that's going to lead to, especially if it's the case that Hannibal thinks this might be happening, but he's clearly not saying anything since he just went back to that aftershave comment to kind of explain his sniffing around. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens there, too. But I also think it's interesting that Will was kind of coming to the conclusion that, yeah, this isn't good for me. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe this is taking me down really the wrong path, and I should pull back a little bit. And even with everything Jack was saying about, you know, lives saved, potential guilt, I don't know if that was really convincing him, but then you see the end. It seems to me, when Will's coming in and saying that I'm going to be here even if you don't want to talk, that maybe the fact that Bella's sick, that this is happening in Jack's life, is going to be something that also goes along the lines of convincing Will to stay and keep working with him. I don't know. But I mean, I'm assuming that Will's not going anywhere. He's not backing out of the job, and so he's continuing to have problems developing, I anticipate, in the upcoming episodes. And obviously, if he has something physically wrong with him, that'll be bad too. But I liked how this episode, as I said, gave us some more insight into Jack as a character, because they're clearly setting up this kind of push-pull situation with Hannibal and Jack on different sides, both trying to use Will for their various purposes, which sometimes overlap and sometimes are probably going to be wildly divergent. And I think if Jack is going to be that central of a character, not just to the plot, the storyline of the cases, but also to, you know, Will's inner issues and inner demons, that it is good that they kind of put some more time into developing Jack beyond just being the head of this unit who wants Will to help him solve cases. So, yeah, so I thought it was another good episode. I'm curious to see what happens next. I'd like to hear if you guys have any other insights or thoughts regarding this episode, or how things are developing so far, or if you think there's anything important that I missed. Oh, yes, as I was saying, the stag statue in Hannibal's office, how Will is just kind of drawn to it, and then like the stag imagery. Okay, so maybe his like subconscious is telling him that Hannibal is being manipulative and that there's something that he's missing, whereas he can more clearly see Jack's manipulations, but his subconscious can sort of see this is happening. He just maybe hasn't put the pieces together yet. Yes, is that I'm thinking, does anybody agree with that sort of assessment? You guys just let me know what your thoughts are. Alright, and so other than that, I'll just say thank you so much for joining me and for putting up with my invalid bed setting for this video. For our next Hannibal video, we should be back to the desk setting I'm anticipating, but I appreciate you bearing with me while I'm in the healing process. Alright, everybody, as I said, leave questions, comments below if you'd like. Other than that, just thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully I will see you next time.